and welcome back, or to the first time, to Certified Black Weirdo, where we celebrate the art of one weird black artist a week. Okay, I'm gonna say this again in a second because I forgot I already said this. But anyway, this week we're talking about RDCWorld's sketch of J. Cole fans in lieu of this new album, The Fall Off, coming out, which might be, if you don't know what I'm talking about, this might be like a tough one to start on. But if you do know what I'm talking about, come in. If you like J. Cole, if you like RDCWorld, if you like music, if you like weird stuff, coming out. Bye, old season. Hello, welcome back. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and jump in. Let me get my timer before. Oh gosh, sorry. I should have done this beforehand. Okay, 25. Oh, 26. Okay, I can't go back on this thing, so we'll just do that, I guess. Hello. It's nice to hang out with you guys again. It feels like it's been a while, even though it's the regular amount of time. This is Wild Card Week, and so sorry. Let's see. Where should we start? I am Angela Tharp, and the Certified Black Weirdo, and in it, we celebrate the weird work of one black artist a week. And this is Wildcard Week, which means we do something kind of like outside of the genres. I mean, it could literally be anything, but typically outside of the genres of movie, album, and what's the third one? TV show? Those are the other weeks. And then this week, it could be kind of anything. So the first one was Z-Way's interview with Ben Staples. The last one was A$AP Rocky's Punk Rocky music video. And I thought that maybe what we could do, which maybe this is like too much of like a thing within a thing, but RDCWorld has a sketch of fan responses to J. Cole's The Fall Off, which is kind of like a lot of things to say if you don't know what I mean. But I thought it was so funny because my boyfriend is like a very big J. Cole fan, as am I, but like not like a stan. I'm not really a stan for like, I don't know. I guess I'm not like a stan for anything. You know what I mean? I'm just like a fan who's interested, wants to listen, but like there's no one that I'm like, would I say that? There are artists who's like, I love all of their work and I'm excited to see more of their work, but I'm not really someone who's like, you better like this. And I think a stan is someone who's like, I love this and there's something is wrong with you if you don't also love it, is what I would guess it would like consider a stan. And so anyway, my boyfriend's kind of like that for J. Cole, and he was really, really excited about this album. And then he played me RDCWorld's sketch for a different one of J. Cole's albums, and I thought it was so funny and so spot on for how he was kind of being about the album, this new album coming out. And then they just had one for The Fall Off, so I thought I would do that for Wildcard Week. Though if you don't know anything of what I said, this might all be kind of confusing. But we'll do a move. What are we gonna do next week? Next week will be an album, so that's, I guess, a little bit more straightforward. But anyway, okay, so we're gonna talk about the sketch, and I mean, ultimately it's just a sketch that was really funny, and I'll link it in the description below if you haven't seen it. And we're just gonna kind of go through what it's about, what themes came up in it, what I liked about it, what was weird about it, what it reminded me of, some favorite quotes, and then we'll go into what we're doing next week, and even just the end of this week. I'm kind of switching it up a little bit, where I think I was doing like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. I was posting like long form and then 3 shorts, but it's been so fun. It's like, I got into this because I'm a writer and I love writing, but I love the idea of kind of just talking about these things too, and kind of just being in conversation with people about Black culture, and specifically like weird Black culture online. And so it's been really fun to make these videos, talk to you guys, hang out in that way, and also write. And I've been working on some like essay pieces and then poems, and that's been really fun kind of in conjunction with this. But it's been cool to like make long form, do the shorts, hang out, and thank you for like commenting and just kind of being in conversation with me. It makes me feel like it's not being spoken into a void, which I really appreciate. So yeah, I think I'm gonna switch from like, I'm gonna do the same amount of stuff, but I think what I'll try out, and we'll see how it feels, because I have like a job and writing and all these things that I'm trying to juggle, but I really love them all. So yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna do like long form on Monday. What I loved about the whatever we're talking about in a minute or less on Tuesday, a clip from the long form on Wednesday, and then what I'm reading, a favorite quote of the week on Thursday. And we'll just see. And then I'll have like Friday, Saturday, Sunday to figure out what's next so that I'm not scrambling. What was I going to say? Oh, and then on Tuesdays, I'll have the newsletter come out too. I'll probably talk more about that at the end because redesigning that too. So all the things. Anyway, but if you're just now meeting me, sorry, this is like a lot. And if you're not, thanks for hanging out and being here. Okay, so let's talk about what this is about. So this is a sketch that's about a diehard J. Cole fan who's trying to make sure his friends are on the same page about the new album, which I found extremely relatable because my boyfriend, as I mentioned, loves J. Cole, also loves RDCWorld. When I said I was going to talk about this, he was like, you have to watch the whole series before you, which is probably fair. But I just was like, I think for Wildcard Weekend, kind of every week, I just like to hyper focus on something. And usually I'm missing some context for sure, but I think it's fun to just kind of like closely analyze. And I saw another one, but I haven't seen all 4 yet, and I should watch the other ones for sure. Maybe before I'm doing this, but I'm running out of time, so I was like, I will do this. Was hilarious, and I will do this. Anyway, so yeah, but they have a lot of funny sketches both about pop culture and about anime, which I have just now discovering, which is really cool. A lot of people in my life, especially like certified black weirdos in my life, love anime, and I just never really got into it. I guess I don't know. I guess, like, you know, I've been in school, went to like, you know, high school, college, master's, PhD, straight through. And so this is like the first full year that I'm not in school. And I feel like my brain has so much more room for stuff. Like I'm reading more widely. I just focus on like one book and then all my schoolwork. But now I'm like reading nonfiction, reading poetry, just like reading everything because I have a lot more time. And then I also am like trying, I'm watching right now, the first thing that I'm watching, which is something that like a content creator on Instagram recommended as anime for beginners, is the show Erased. And it's so good. I'm like halfway through with it. I watch it every night after work and it's so comforting. And I mean, it's not comforting, it's kind of like heavy, but it's just, I think that like there's something about, I don't know, like watching something that somebody like animated, I guess, or drew or came up with. I guess that's how animation works, right? Mine's like drawing all the shots, I think. And then there's also something really comforting about listening to something in another language and reading along. Like I feel like it like stimulates my brain more than like just watching TV. I watch TV with subtitles anyway, but I think sometimes when I'm watching TV, I feel like I'm like, because I'm kind of an anxious person, I'm like, I should be doing something. Like I'm just sitting here. It's not like turning my brain enough, I think. But watching anime, it's so cool because it's like, I'm listening to a language that I don't know and I'm reading it. And it just is like, I'm really into it. Anyway, so all that tangent to say, okay, we got our timer on. We got 18 minutes left, maybe less, we'll see. They do sketches on anime as well. And then also on pop culture stuff and all of multiple of J. Cole's albums. So, yeah, I'll link them below, but they're very popular, so maybe you already know who they are. Okay, what are some themes that came up in the sketch? One was like, what does it mean to be a true fan? I think is a question that I was asking in a way that I thought was so fun. How do you deal with people who don't love what you love when you love them? Like I think that when we really care about someone and we really care about what they think, if they don't like the same stuff we like, we're like, what's wrong with you? There's nothing wrong with me, so what's wrong with you? And I think that was like so well illustrated here in a way that was really funny. Yeah, like for example, my partner, when he showed me one of the videos from J. Cole's album that came out before the album, and I was like, this is good, yeah. And then he did like days later, he was like, do you even like J. Cole? And I was like, I've been listening to him since high school. I taught, when I was teaching creative writing, I taught Love Yours not Love Yours. What was it? Not Love Yours. Oh gosh, now I'm being revealed. The story where he's like in high school and then he's like talking to this girl. I can't remember what it's called. Oh my gosh, am I revealing that I'm really not a fan? I do love him. And anyway, there is this song. Oh my gosh, should I look it up? I won't look it up right now. But there's a song that's like this whole story, right? Of like him and this girl and they're like gonna hook up, but like he's nervous and then she's nervous or whatever because they're actually both virgins, but that they're both kind of coming across as if they're not to each other. And it's like the story that it's told, and then there's like a twist in it. And when I was teaching like creative writing, I taught it as like how to tell a story first, like how to plot, how to like tell a story, and then also how to write a poem that is a story. And I remember, you know, it was like so impactful for me at the time. And it's just like, yeah, I appreciate J. Cole as like someone who is as lyrical, especially as Drake and as Kendrick Lamar in some senses, but is like, I think like really tapped into his relationships and when he writes about them in a way that I find really moving. Anyway, this is my case as to why I am a fan. Despite not being like a diehard fan, really anyone, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if it's like how I grew up or like, you know, I don't know, trauma or something, but like, I'm like, I'm not really someone who's just like, I will trust whatever you do forever with no question. I mean, maybe that's not what a stan is. I don't know. I think I'm just like naturally, maybe because I'm a Scorpio, like a little bit skeptical, a little bit like I need to not be proven that you are good forever, but just like it takes a while for me to feel like in my personal life and definitely with strangers that are celebrities, like to feel like, you know, whatever you can do no wrong. I don't even think I can do no wrong. I think we have to like actively be making choices to be good, you know, and to do the right thing and to like make choices that are aligned with our values. I think that like maybe that comes more easily to some people than to others, but I think everybody has to make an active choice every day. And so I think to like not presume, but like to like assume or presume that someone will always make the right choices, I think can sometimes lead you to be sad if they don't, you know. But also to like assume that someone's never going to make the right choices means that you don't feel like the same joy of trusting someone or, you know. So I don't know, I think I'm in the middle, but I do really love J. Cole's stuff historically. Anyway, I liked the sketch for how it sort of portrayed the idea of like when someone that you love doesn't love what you love to the same extent, like that dissonance there was like so hilariously illustrated here. Okay, so here's some things I like about it. We got 14 minutes, making a reasonable time. Yeah, I thought it felt very true of people who are die-hard fans of J. Cole. Yeah, I said here, I've listened to J. Cole since high school, but I don't know if I'm like a stan for any celebrity. I'll show up and I'll encounter and I'll support, but I'm wary of undying support for someone I don't know, even though I think it's really endearing in others, which is true. I think to like see someone be excited about an artist, yeah, it's just like very sweet, because it is true that we don't, I don't know, the older you get, like I don't know, I think when you're like around kids, you see like their feelings are so transparent on their faces. Like if they're happy, they're happy. If they're confused, they're confused. If they're sad, they're like, it's just clear. And I think as we get older, we learn to like mask our emotions to protect ourselves, and so we kind of come off as like neutral more than we actually are. And maybe around the people we trust, we're more transparent, but like we're not like generally just like, you know, happy, sad, like so transparent in adulthood, most adults I would say. And so I think that like when someone's really excited about an artist, or you can tell that they love them, or like in this sketch he's crying because he was so moved, like I just think it's like very refreshing return back to the kind of openness that we had as kids, you know, for the things that excited us, without like the sort of like crushing memory of being disappointed. And it's like, how can we get back to that, like feeling excited even with the possibility of disappointment? I think that's what like falling in love is, right? It's like, the thing is so cool, it could go terribly, but it's so cool, you know. It's like, how can we transfer that out to other things that we're excited about, even at the risk of being disappointed, you know? So anyway, thought that was cool. What else? Yeah, I love the details here. Like him crying, him wondering why his friend isn't crying about the album. Why he isn't. They were playing it in the car and he was bobbing his head, and he asked him why he wasn't bobbing his head. It was so good. That kind of like wanting to be on the same page about the excitement, I thought was really lovely. Oh, and then I love his friend was like, I just don't like it sonically. And he said, why are you making up words to explain why you don't like it? I've never heard you say the word sonically. It's just very fun, because it just rang very true to me as someone who you know, lives with and loves someone who loves J. Cole. And was counting down the days for this album and the record. We're getting the record. I think I'm pretty sure it's a record that we're getting in the mail. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm here for the fandom, but it is funny to like see that dynamic that I've been in reflected on YouTube in this sketch. And I thought that's why it would be a fun thing to do for this wildcard week. Oh, and then one of my favorite parts was when, and if you haven't seen it, definitely the link will be in the description, but like basically they're like getting in this fight about like, how can you not love J. Cole more? And then he was like, I'm the one who told you that the album came out and I went to Germany to find you. And then this guy had like gone to like, and the character in the sketch had gone to Germany because of how everybody was focusing on Drake and Kendrick and comparing like Drake to Michael Jackson, Kendrick to Prince, Kendrick to Michael Jackson, Drake to Prince, going back and forth like these are the two greats. And he said when he asked somebody what about J. Cole, they said that he was like Ruben Studdard because he's always apologizing. Which I thought was really fun. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of feel like these guys are like around my age because their references are very similar to my references from when I was like in high school. And I think that like hearing that humor back, I don't know, like those references and the humor that comes from those references back. And even just like the way that sketches or like comedy or stuff like that was sort of like, I don't know, present in that time period of like 10 years ago, where it's sort of like really thoughtful humor that feels kind of minimalist, but it's actually like all planned out, you know, it's just like, it's refreshing and kind of nostalgic to me. So I thought it was really funny for that. And then what was weird about it, yeah, he kept giving his friend breadcrumb lyrics from the album to see how closely he listened to it, like these clues to see if he was listening actually, and he kept being like, what are you talking about? I thought that was really funny. And then he told his friend was like, maybe I just need to listen to it again, which is also something that I've said. And then the main guy brought out 2 pairs of headphones and it was like, okay, we can listen to it right now, which one do you want, pink or blue? And it was just funny in the sense that I don't know, just like taking, I guess like I liked it because it took something that felt really familiar, as in like my exchanges lately, and it sort of like turned it into a story that felt like weird and specific, even though it felt familiar to me. And I think that's really hard to do, especially on the internet, is like take something that's like a general feeling that a lot of people can relate to and portray it in a way that is like weird and original in your own right. And especially I think it's hard to be an artist like at any time period, obviously, but like just because, you know, we don't, at least in America, we don't like totally live in a world that's conducive to making art versus like working. And you know, you have to make time for it and figure out how to like be an artist and be in a space and support yourself financially or be supported, you know. And it's just like, yeah, it can be weird. But I think in the internet era especially, it's like everything is just always online and you're consuming and putting out, and it's important to be in conversation in that way. But I think that it can be hard to make stuff that feels original, right? But also the answer is not to not consume the art, because all art should be in conversation, I think, with other people and with life. But anyway, I just feel like this was great and how it felt relatable, but it was also its own thing. Yeah, so that was great. And then let's see what it reminded me of. We might make this one snappy, we'll see. I thought, but it is like way longer than the sketch itself, which is what I did. Every wildcard week, I'm like working with something that's like pretty small, or not pretty short, but like not small at all, but like in terms of like how big and interesting it is as a art object. But like I think I'm working with something that's not that long, but then I'm like talking about it forever because I love to talk. Anyway, okay. So what it reminded me of, yeah, it is sort of like, I mean, Kenan Kel, I don't really have any specific examples, but that's kind of what came to mind, like these sort of like silly but really focused sketches that I watched growing up. It kind of reminded me of like the best parts of like more mass-produced sketches like SNL and Key and Peele. Like I think sometimes those can feel not super specific in how they portray Black culture and Black life and Black people. But I feel like this, what I loved about it, why it felt so funny, was I was like, this feels so specific, and I feel so seen in the sense that like I've talked to people like this specifically. And sometimes I think that like maybe in anything that's like super mainstream, it just feels like things get kind of like lost in translation when you're trying to talk to everybody at once. There is a really funny Kenan Kel sketch where they're talking about how a lot of Black American characters are played by Black British actors, which is not totally bad. You know, we've benefited a lot from that. But how it's like this one way thing, like Black Americans aren't playing Black British characters to my knowledge, or there's not like I mean, there probably is like an equal amount of Black Americans playing Black Americans in TV, but anyway, it's just like this phenomenon. Kenan Kel had a really funny sketch about that. And I'm like, that when it's specific like that, when it feels relatable like that, at least to me, I mean, I don't know how other people feel about it, but like, then I think it's just so funny. But like, sometimes when you have like a big stage, it's hard to keep your specificity and keep like your specific audience you're talking to. I think RDCWorld here did a really good job of like thinking about who their audience was and then speaking to them in a way that felt really specific and hilarious. Okay, 6 minutes left. Favorite quotes. Yeah, I love the J. Cole Ruben Studdard comparison. That was like, Ruben Studdard's career was like embedded deep in my brain, and I feel like it just like came out in a way that was really fun. I love when his friend said, "I don't have to cry to like an album." I have said that verbatim, so I thought that was really funny. And then the whole, which headphones do you want, big or blue? That was one of my favorite lines too. It was really well written. I mean, I don't know if they wrote it or if they just like planned it out and then just said it, but like, I just feel like it was really well planned as a sketch. Okay, and that's that. So that was pretty fun. Go check it out if you haven't already. And yeah, this is Wildcard Week. Here we go. You guys have been voting for things. I have not been doing the things that you voted for because I'm just like, here's this random thing I want to talk about instead. But I will make a list of those things, and then when eventually we will talk about them. I like the idea of voting. Yeah, it's kind of coming up. I'm thinking about my newsletter and kind of changing it up a little bit so that it's not just like an extended version of the videos, but like has other stuff to it. So I'm thinking maybe it'll come out it comes out on Tuesdays. I'll put the link to it in the descriptions below. You can like put your email in, get in your email, or if you're like, I have so many emails, which is how I have like maybe 120,000 emails in my inbox. One of my goals maybe this month is to clear it, figure out how to declutter it, how to get out of it. So I totally understand not wanting another email, but you can also just go to that link and see the page. And I think what it'll start including is a list of like what I'm reading, listening to, watching, kind of like a log of all the culture stuff I'm encountering, especially articles. I'm reading a lot of really cool articles lately. And then a little blurb of like, here's something that I'm thinking about, maybe like 200 words of like, here's something I've been, maybe like an obsession feels strong for like every single week, but like a fixation, maybe like a fixation in 250 words or less or something. I don't know. I'll have parts like that. And I'll figure it out. But anyway, that comes out on Tuesday. I'm thinking that what I loved about this sketch and generally what I loved about whatever we're talking about will come out on Tuesday as well. Wednesday we'll do a clip from the long form. Thursday we'll do a reading rec. And we'll see how that goes. But anyway, that's all that. Next week is album week, so there's a lot we could do. Let me know in the comments. Should we talk about J. Cole's new album? Should we talk, which is a little bit weird, it's like a little bit experimental. We could talk about Lil Sims, we could talk about Tyler the Creator. If you have album ideas, let me know that. And we'll just go from there. We got a lot going on this week. I think if we did like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe it'll just feel like, here's the week. Okay, and we're back. Here's the week. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for hanging out. Let me know what you've been watching or reading or listening to. Let me know if there's sketches that you like. I always love a sketch. And I hope you have a good week. I can't believe we're already in February. We're just rocking and rolling. Okay, well, I'll talk to you soon. Oh, one thing I really loved was Bad Bunny's new album is, I mean, obviously my grandma is not like a hot take to say I loved it, but that will be on the list on my newsletter because that's been great. I got it on my little MP3 player. It's been very cute. Anyway, I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.